China is well known for its history, technology, and massive structures. But aside from the Great Wall and modern skyscrapers, they have also built things that are unusual and sometimes even frightening. There are ghost towns abandoned by people, malls with no shoppers, and bridges that are truly breathtaking. So the question is, why were these kinds of things built, and what are the stories hidden behind them? So in this video, we will explore the 20 scariest things built by China. But before that, please like and subscribe. That would mean a lot to us content creators. Thank you very much. So let's get started. Number 20, Cliffside burials. On the steep cliffs of southern China, there is a unique way of burial that remains a mystery to this day. These are called hanging coffins, where wooden coffins are placed on the side of cliffs, on protruding rocks, or inside caves. This tradition was practiced by the ancient Bo people, a group that disappeared as early as the 16th century and left only a few traces of their culture. According to experts, this was done to protect the remains from wild animals and flooding. Some also say that the reason is a spiritual belief that the soul is closer to heaven if it is buried in a high place. Ang mga buong even wrote that they placed their deceased in coffins on the side of the mountain, which is almost impossible for people to reach. It's amazing that even after hundreds of years, many of these coffins still remain in their original place. You can hear the silence as you see them hanging hundreds of feet above the ground, seemingly battling the wind, rain, and time. This view is a reminder of the strong beliefs of ancient people about death and the afterlife. And if you find yourself in Enshi Grand Canyon, you will see these hanging coffins for yourself. Amidst the breathtaking view of the mountains and river, those coffins still remain fixed in place. They hang quietly on the cliff as if telling the secrets of a culture long gone, yet still capturing our imagination. Number 19, China's fake Apple stores. Imagine walking into a store that looks almost exactly like an Apple store. You see the familiar logo, the shiny wooden tables with gadgets on display, and employees wearing blue uniforms. At first glance, you'd think it's real, but in reality, it's fake. In 2011, an American living in Kunming discovered this kind of store. He thought it was a newly opened Apple store, but when he looked for information, he found out that there was no official Apple store in that city. At that time, the real branches could only be found in Beijing and Shanghai. Even the employees in that store believed they were working for Apple. The interior design of the store was almost identical to the original, from the spiral staircase to the neat arrangement of products on the tables. Even the way they interacted with customers was copied. Because of this, it was really hard to tell if it was real or not. Number 18, China's Replica Paris. There is a place in China called Tianducheng, which is also known as the Paris of the East. At first glance, you would think you're in Europe because you can see the Eiffel Tower, wide gardens, and buildings that look like those in France. But in reality, this is a large residential area in Hangzhou, Zhejiang province. The place was built in the early 2000s to create a luxurious community with a Parisian theme. It has an Eiffel Tower replica that's almost 354 feet tall. It also includes fountains, European-style gardens, and streets named after famous places in Paris. The plan was for thousands of people to live here, but the idea was not successful. Back in 2013, only around 2,000 people lived here, far from the expected number. Because of this, the streets became quiet and many buildings were left unoccupied. Instead of becoming a vibrant city, it turned into something like a ghost town, as if it were a movie set with no people. Number 17, Olympic ghost towns. When the 2008 Beijing Olympics ended, what was left was the memory of a grand spectacle watched by the whole world. It was full of joy, lights, and modern buildings constructed for the games. When the spotlight faded and the crowds left, many of the places that were built became quiet and appeared abandoned. The former symbols of success now look like ruins being reclaimed by nature. The bicycle motocross track is a clear example. Before, this place was full of noise and cheers from the cyclist races. Now it's covered with grass and its former appearance is almost unrecognizable. The beach volleyball courts still have sand, but the joyful applause is gone. Now all you see are stray animals and a few people passing by. Aside from this, the rowing and kayaking stadium is also a sad sight. The once clear and lively water has become dark and quiet. The seats and structures are slowly deteriorating as no one visits. It's sad to think that millions were spent to build these, but they were quickly abandoned after the Games. This didn't just happen in Beijing, but also at Olympic venues worldwide. Number 16, China's deserted malls. When the new South China Mall opened in 2005, it was expected to become the largest shopping mall in the world. It has designs that are visually appealing. There are canals like those in Venice, large buildings with European style, and a huge indoor roller coaster. All of these were built to attract a lot of people every day. But despite the grandeur, the most important thing didn't come: the customers. One of the problems is the location. It's in an area far from the city center of Dongguan and hard to reach because of a lack of transportation. Most of the people around are workers who can't afford to spend on expensive stores. Because of this, the mall didn't suit them. Meanwhile, after a few years, there were almost no people inside. It was called a ghost mall because so many spaces were unoccupied. It even reached the point where almost 99% of the stores were empty. The long hallways became silent and were covered in dust. What was once a symbol of modern ambition became an image of overplanning that did not match the real needs. In the northern part of Beijing, there is a vast cemetery full of mystery. This is the Ming tombs, where 13 emperors were buried. It has been more than 600 years since it was built. The place was chosen based on feng shui so that the balance between the souls of the living and the dead would be maintained. Because of this, many believe that not only history is present there, but also spirits that guard the place. Enclosed by mountains and trees, it feels isolated from the world when you're there. You will see long roads, large arches, and statues of warriors and animals. As you walk, you feel the weight of the past and a strange excitement. Many visitors have shared stories of suddenly hearing strange sounds, feeling a cold breeze, or seeing a shadow quickly pass by. Only the Dingling tomb has been opened, the burial site of Emperor Wan Li and his 2 wives. In the 1950s, thousands of items like silk, wood, ceramics, valuables, and even the emperor's family remains were unearthed. It started as a success, but quickly became a problem. Many items were damaged and decayed, and some researchers who studied them became ill for unknown reasons. It's as if the tomb was warning not to be disturbed. Number 14. China's lost underground. Beneath the ground of Zhejiang province in China, a huge mystery was discovered. These are the Longyu Caves. It was discovered in 1992 when some farmers drained a lake. Instead of just a simple hole, enormous caves appeared that seemed to be carefully carved into the rock. Not just one was found, but a total of 20. Each chamber is almost identical in shape and design. The caves are spacious and tall. They reach a height of up to 20 meters and cover an area of almost 10,000 square meters each. The walls are smooth, the ceilings are even, and the pillars are straight and aligned. It seems to have been made with modern tools, but it is believed to have been built more than 2,000 years ago in ancient times. One of the biggest questions is how they removed so many stones. It is estimated that about 1 million cubic meters of stone were removed, but there is no trace left of where it was taken. No old records or documents have been found stating that there was such a project. It's as if the caves just suddenly appeared without any history. In connection with this, there are various theories about the purpose of the caves. Some believe they were made as hiding places for kings. Some say these were storage areas for food or supplies. Others believe they might have been places for rituals and beliefs. There are also some more unusual views that these might have been made by a lost civilization, or perhaps with help from beings that did not come from our world. 13. The City of Chaos. In Hong Kong, there is a place called Kowloon Walled City. It was a small military fort, but after World War II, it became home to many. Gradually, more and more people lived there, and it became like a separate world without any control from the government. As more people arrived, buildings started to appear, almost touching each other and stacked on top of one another. The total area was less than 7 acres, but more than 50,000 people lived here. That means it was even more crowded than Manhattan. Because almost no sunlight could get in, the hallways were dark and narrow. There were no police or clear government. That's why various illegal activities spread. There were gambling dens, places where drugs were sold, and unlicensed clinics. But even so, normal life still happened. Many families set up shops and eateries, and children played on the rooftops. Amid chaos, a sense of community and camaraderie formed. In the 1980s, this place gained a reputation as a strange and frightening city. Many people came to see what it looked like inside, a cramped and dark maze full of people and businesses. But in 1993, the governments of China and Britain decided to demolish it. The demolition finished in 1994, and a park replaced it. Number 12. China's Forgotten Village. Imagine a place that was once full of people and noise, but now it's almost impossible to tell where human life once began. This is Hotuan, a former fishing village on Shenzhen Island in eastern China. In the 1980s, more than 2,000 people lived here. Fishing brought life and energy, filling every corner of the village with activity and noise. But when the 1990s came, the income from the sea started to decline. Many young people moved to distant cities to find better jobs. Slowly, the number of residents in the area decreased. By the early 2000s, almost no one was left in the houses, and people had completely abandoned the village. That was when nature began to reclaim it. At present, Hotuan looks like a scene from a movie. The houses are now covered with thick vines. Trees are growing out of the windows, and the roads are covered with moss and grass. There are no longer any sounds of vehicles or human voices. All that's left are the sound of the wind and the rustling of leaves around. Number 11. China's Empty Metropolis. There is a city in Inner Mongolia that became a symbol of a huge dream that was never fulfilled. This is Ordos Kangbashi, a modern city built for more than 1 million people. It was designed to be new and modern, full of wide roads, unique building designs, and complete facilities for a large city. But instead of becoming busy and full of people, it remained almost empty. In the beginning, this was a major government project. They spent a huge amount of money to make it a center of business, arts, and culture. The buildings were constructed by En Grande, including large offices, shopping malls, and a sports complex. They expected people to flock here and the economy to improve. But when the buildings were finished, only a few people moved in. There were 2 main reasons. First, the price of land and houses was too high, so ordinary people couldn't afford to buy them. Second, there weren't enough businesses or jobs in the area, so there was no reason for families to move in. Because of this, stores didn't open and most of the buildings remained vacant. Number 10, China's Art Factory. In China, there's a unique town. It's called Dauphin Art Village. Here, almost everyone is busy painting copies of famous artworks. You can see rows of Vincent van Gogh and Claude Monet paintings on the streets, like a massive factory repeating the same process. Instead of being art with emotion, the works have become just like products. At first, this place became famous because of the number of copies produced. Many painters earned a living and found a livelihood, but as time passed, the situation changed. AI-generated art arrived, which can create faster and cheaper. Because of this, it became harder for local artists to compete. There are some who don't give up. They try to add unique details so that their work isn't just a simple copy. Despite their efforts, a distinct sadness still lingers in the place. Number 9. Haunted, unidentified flying object village. In the late 1970s, a unique project was started in the town of Sanji in Taiwan. The houses were round-shaped, resembling UFOs. That's why they immediately stood out to people. The idea was to turn it into a luxurious seaside resort where the rich and foreigners could go on vacation. Back then, it was envisioned to become a symbol of modern and luxurious living. But from the very start of construction, many unfortunate events happened. There were accidents that claimed the lives of some workers. Because of this, the belief spread that the place was cursed. There are also stories from locals that the land where the project was built used to be a burial ground. Because of the rumors and tragedies, the investors lost trust and abandoned the project. When construction stopped in the 1980s, the structures began to rot and deteriorate. Because of the rumors and tragedies, the investors lost trust and abandoned the project. When construction stopped in the 1980s, grass and trees grew over it, and it gradually became abandoned. Meanwhile, over time, it became a favorite spot for adventurous visitors. Many of them said that it feels different when you're inside the houses. Some have recounted hearing faint whispers in the wind, and others have said that it feels like there's a heavy presence around. Due to ongoing deterioration and safety concerns, Taiwan's government decided to demolish the houses. Demolition began in 2008 and finished in 2010. Afterward, the unique unidentified flying object houses in Sanji vanished completely. Number 8. Abandoned Wonderland. In the 1990s, a massive project was started in Chenzhuang Village north of Beijing. The plan was to build Wonderland Amusement Park, intended to be Asia's largest theme park, with huge castles and many attractions, other rides that would entertain people. It was expected to be the country's top destination, but this dream didn't come true. There was a problem with the payment for the land, and the developers and landowners couldn't reach an agreement. Because of this, construction suddenly stopped. The unfinished buildings were left behind, and it never even opened for a single day to visitors. Years passed and the place's appearance changed. Instead of children and tourists, farmers returned and planted their crops around the ruined buildings and castle. Because of its unusual appearance, many people came to see it and take pictures. For urban explorers and photographers, this is more than just an abandoned building. It's a unique view where castles are gradually being overtaken by nature. Meanwhile, an attempt was made to revive the project again in 2008, but it still didn't succeed. By 2013, the remaining structures were finally demolished. Castles and buildings once meant to bring joy were wiped off the map. Number 7. China's railgun revolution. China is gradually rising in the field of modern weaponry, especially with their project called the electromagnetic railgun. This is not an ordinary gun that uses explosive bullets. It uses extremely powerful electricity and magnetism to propel the projectile. Because of this, it can reach speeds of almost 2 kilometers per second, a speed that traditional cannons can't match. In 2018, photos of the ship Haiyangshan, a Type 0723 class landing ship, spread widely. You can notice a prototype railgun at its front. This is a clear sign that China is determined to continue developing this kind of technology. The railgun has great potential benefits. First, it no longer requires explosive shells, making it safer for the crew. Second, due to the projectile's high speed, its kinetic energy alone can cause major damage without explosives. Another advantage is that the projectile can reach longer distances, allowing it to strike from farther away. However, building it is not easy. It requires a massive supply of electricity that can only be supported by a special power storage and generation system. The durability of the rails and other parts is also a major challenge because they wear out quickly with repeated use. Experts are still looking for the right solution to make the railgun more durable and reliable. Number 6. Beijing's Haunted Mansion. In the middle of the bustling city of Beijing, there's an old house known as one of the scariest in all of China. This is Keone number 81, a mansion with a French Baroque design that has stood since around 1910. At first glance, it just looks old and abandoned, but for many, it carries stories of mystery and the supernatural. It's not clear what the original purpose of this house was. Some say it became a language school for missionaries. Others also say that it used to be owned by the church and was given to missionaries during the Qing dynasty. The lack of a clear answer adds to the mystery of the mansion. This house is best known for the legend about a woman. It is said that she was the wife or lover of a Kuomintang official. In 1949, when the communists took over Beijing, it is said that the official left her and went to Taiwan. As a result, the woman ended her life in the mansion. Stories say her cries and screams are still heard during strong storms at night. 5. Chongqing Rail Transit Marvel. In Chongqing, China, there is a unique scenery that is rarely seen in other places. Here you can find the Liziba station, where the monorail actually passes through a tall apartment building. The train enters from the 6th floor up to the 8th floor of the building. Because of this, it has become a symbol of creative opportunity, of structures in a city full of people and steep mountains. If you think about it, it seems impossible for the residents there to have a peaceful life. But because of advanced soundproofing, the sound you hear when the train passes by is almost as quiet as a dishwasher. Aside from that, the building and the train line were constructed at the same time to ensure that the walls are sturdy and don't shake when a train passes by. So even though there's a monorail passing through the middle of the residents' lives remain comfortable. Chongqing is called the Mountain City because of its steep terrain and narrow spaces. As a result, planners decided to integrate residential areas with transportation. In this way, not only was space saved, but it also made it easier for people to move around within the city. Number 4. Underground Hotel Nightmare. A unique hotel was built in a former quarry in China. It is located 300 feet underground. It's not like the usual buildings we see because instead of rising upwards, its design is built downwards. It has 18 floors and almost all of them are underground. 16 of these are buried underground while 2 are underwater. In these rooms, you can see water and fish passing by the glass. For some, this is amazing. But for others, it's scary because you're surrounded underneath by rocks that were once part of intense excavation. The design was made to be in harmony with nature. Rooms offer views of waterfalls, tall rocks, and the quarry's shape. But despite the beauty, there's a strange feeling like you're inside a huge cave. People also often forget that they're in a hotel because only 2 floors are visible above the ground. In addition, during the day, the view of the water and the light hitting the rocks is beautiful. But at night, the surroundings become mysterious. Number 3, terrifying glass bridges. In China, there are bridges made of glass that are specifically designed to scare even the bravest people. The most famous of these is the Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge. It hangs almost 1,000 feet above the ground and stretches over 1,400 feet long. While walking, you can see the tall mountains and deep gorges around you. There are also bridges with special effects where the glass looks like it's cracking when you step on it. That makes it even more nerve-wracking. Even though it's safe, many people still get scared and freeze in the middle. Their knees shake or they suddenly crouch down just to get across. Number 2, Great Wall of Sand. This refers to China's large reclamation project in the South China Sea. It started in 2013 and lasted until 2016. During this time, China used large ships to take sand from the seabed and place it on the coral reefs in the Spratly Islands. In this way, they were able to create artificial islands with a total area of about 14 square kilometers. These aren't just plots of land since they became military bases. It has a 3-kilometer runway ship ports, radar systems, missile facilities, and other defense equipment. As a result, China can now monitor and control a larger area of the sea more effectively. It was called the Great Wall of Sand due to the rapid large-scale reclamation. Many countries became concerned, especially neighbors like the Philippines and Vietnam, because this had a huge impact on territorial and security issues in the region. Number 1, the Coiling Dragon Cliff Skywalk. Imagine walking on the edge of a mountain, but the floor you're stepping on is made of glass. It's both nerve-wracking and amazing. This is the Coiling Dragon Cliff Skywalk experience on Qianmen Mountain, China. This glass walkway is built right on the cliff's edge. It's only about 5 feet wide and hangs more than 4,600 feet above the ground. When you're there, it feels like you're floating in the air. Many visitors get scared when they're there. Some can't even move in the middle because they're so afraid of heights. Others hold tightly onto the rock as they slowly move forward, hardly believing each step they take. Even knowing the walkway is sturdy and safe, the nervousness remains because you see the cliff right below your feet. The engineers also did a tremendous job building this. They had to place the walkway on solid granite without damaging the mountain. They used special adhesive and steel that doesn't rust easily to make sure it's sturdy, even during strong winds or earthquakes.